like a Hellcat.
Welcome guys, welcome back to Jumpsuit Mafia. Right now we're checking to see if the motor is locked up because we have a crank no start, and I tried to jump the starter with my Power Pro but it kept clicking, so it means we want to do a couple things. Either background motor's locked or background motor's locked and something else I forgot. So shot. Man. Well, background motor's locked or bad starter. So right now we're just gonna check if it's locked, because if the starter is clicking and I give it power and ground, that means either the motor is locked. So I'm just gonna avoid chasing everything else until I found out if the motor's actually locked up. And if it's not locked up, and then we can go try figuring out everything else. So let's check it out. Okay, motor's not locked, so we're good on that. So now we can go check the wiring and everything else and see why it's not cranking over, or the starter's clicking but it's not rolling over. So cranking over. So let's check out everything else. Well guys, welcome back, and I have figured out the issue to the no start problem. Now this power wire coming from the alternator right here, this green one, it pretty much, you have the circuit going from the battery to the starter, and then the starter from the alternator and then back to battery, which that's how that works. So, and this wire with some jigger, like, I don't know, it was just jigger rigged. It's kind of janky, but so welcome back guys, real quick. So I figured out the problem. It was this wire going from the starter power back to the alternator, and that's how circuit works. Goes from the battery to starter to alternator, and alternator back to battery. So this crimp wire, this is a janky job that was done by some previous owner. It was pretty crappy. You can see, look, the wire's exposed and everything, but I re-crimped it, and now it cranks. So like I said, it was either the background or the circuit wasn't complete. So now everything works for the most part, and that's it. So guys, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you like what you see, and stay tuned for more content. Peace. How about now? Yo, shit is running. Come get it. SRT4 is back together, running. I'm gonna check engine light, but ain't that shit cool? She's all done. She's ready to go. Take her first spin. So recapping guys. Well, after I hooked up that clamp and the car ran and was bleeding out, it stopped running again because got some janky power wires going to the starter itself, not getting full voltage. It's also corroded, so he has to change the terminal. But I ran an auxiliary power wire directly from the battery to the starter, and it started right up. So, recap, guys. Do not buy rigged cars, because they will cause you problems. And also cause me problems, because I hate doing this thing 9 times. Because I don't know what the previous owner did. So, do not buy janky cars. Lesson learned. Well, not my lesson, his lesson, but whatever. But now it starts to start up. You see that power wire running there? Here, I mean, I ran into this alternator wire too. I thought it was that, but it wasn't even that. It ended up being not getting good contact from the terminal to the starter. The starter solenoid was getting voltage and it was clicking, but it wasn't getting enough juice to the starter itself. Main 12 volts from the battery to the starter for it to crank over. Lesson learned. You know. I mean, it's trial and error. It takes a couple of times, but you know, as you keep doing it, you'll get used to diagnosing faster and troubleshooting the problem quicker by, you know, testing this out, like running the power wire over here. I had it running from the starter to the battery, thinking it was an alternator charging power, but it wasn't that. That had good contact. I mean, it was from here to the alternator, it had good contact, but then I was like, you know what, let me run a direct 12 volts from there to the battery, see if it was that, and it ended up being that. So now I just gotta zip tie this together so it doesn't knock into anything, bleed it out again, and then we're gonna go for a test drive. Stay tuned.